Welcome to the Renegade podcast. I'm your host, Dashing Rogue, and I'm with my frequent sidekick, Artistic Layman.
Not anymore.
Yes, you are. You're spy, cowboy, bounty hunter for hire. Wake up! I have a job for you.
Oh my god, that's the last.
Pretty
what's
much the last moments of the new Cowboy Bebop, and we're finally introduced to Ed after everyone has abandoned the project, and Ed's gonna basically bring them back together if there was a next season, of course.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So, I kind of like that ending. That actually sounds like a very interesting ending. Like, if you look at this, like, from a drug trip or something like that, it kind of makes sense. Like, I don't know if somebody could, like, do, like, an AMV or something like that. Like, they actually do, like, a dub, and then they make that, like, be the fucking acid trip.
It was either that or finding a clip from Santa Inc.
Oh, Jesus, man. No, but I mean, like, have you actually seen, like, the production values for that fucking thing?
Oh, for Santa Inc.?
No, not Santa Inc. Was it Cowboy Bebop?
I don't know the details. How is it?
Oh, dude, like, people were bitching and complaining about, we tried to use the original costume design for the characters, but they just didn't work in real life, and they kept ripping and stuff like that. I'm like, and that was the justification for why the character wasn't dressed as sexy as the others, or something along those lines. Problem here with that whole argumentation is that there are legitimate like cosplayers who could probably make higher quality crap than that's in Hollywood nowadays.
Yeah, and not just that, but the characters barely act like the characters. Like, I see some clips of Faye Valentine, and that's not Faye. I'm sorry. It's not even that she doesn't dress sexily, which is her costume almost defies gravity in certain respects, but she doesn't even act like Faye.
I have never seen I've never seen Cowboy Bebop all the way through. I'm sorry. No. There's a lot of animes out there that I have not freaking seen, and I just again, you're talking to a guy who hasn't even seen Ava. Okay, so
Ava makes less sense, and oddly enough, Ava and Cowboy Bebop have this kind of melancholy, bizarro ending to them both. Although Ava much more so, but they leave you kind of wondering what the heck you just watched or what it was all about.
Yeah, most of the time, one of the reasons I don't like anime that much, I guess the modern anime, I was actually talking with, what was his name? Just an off comment on Twitter with, I think, Brian, right? Brian, I think his name is.
Mm-hmm.
And we were basically talking about how, at one point we were talking about I don't like anime, or he doesn't like anime. Again, I'm just thinking off the top of my head. But basically, I said I don't watch anime past 2008. Anything past 2008, I don't watch. And the reason why is because a lot of the themes that you see in modern anime is just pandering to the otaku, right? But like a lot of the themes of like the 1990s animes, they were of their time. So if you understand that like certain anime came from certain times and events in Japanese history, it also reflects it. So, like, right now, like, the stuff that people are putting out is just junk food for the psyche. Like, before, there was, like, actual, like, legitimate, like, philosophical questions. Like, if you look at Neon Genesis Evangelion, right? When it first came out, apparently, like, there was a lot of shit happening. Like, a lot of, like, natural disasters and, like, doom and gloom. Like, real doomer shit happening. Like, tsunamis and crap like that. And so it's sort of the message was like this. The message was designed for that time and place. So like a lot of like Evangelion and Cowboy Bebop, they're playing off of those fears and those sensations to a certain degree.
Yeah, Cowboy Bebop's story. Well, technically there is a greater narrative of all Spike's character. But at the end, it's kind of a tragic story in the end, because it's basically him fulfilling what he should have done a long time ago, and it feels kind of bleak and pointless. It's almost like it exists only for our entertainment and self-contemplation, which is what a tragedy does do.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's never like the story of Evangelion and the story of Cowboy, I would imagine. Again, the ultimate story of this, the story within the story is more important than, let's say, than the overarching story or plot, if you will. So like the story of, let's say, Sisyphus, right? The whole reason that why Sisyphus is supposed to go up and down a hill doesn't really matter because again, it's just a story, but the meaning that people try to get from Sisyphus, that's what matters, right? Same thing goes with a lot of these freaking movies and these early animes that came out in like the 90s and shit. Or 80s and 90s, I should say, like late 80s, early 90s. Well, I probably late 80s to like late 90s, let's say. The millennial anime, basically. A lot of them basically were just, doomer nightmare fuel. A lot of them were. They thought about where life was gonna go, like Akira, for example. I think I talked about it before. I think it's called not isekai, but basically it's not isekai. It's not the apocalypticism. It's not isekai. It's the other world. Not another world. The fuck is the world types. A lot of the world types you see in anime nowadays, it really is just weird. Like now, I don't know.
It's very goofy, optimistic, and stuff. But it is redundant because there are like over a dozen different isekai stories right now. Yeah. And they just run right over each other. Like, I like that idea, so I'm going to copy it. Like, normally when a good idea comes up, they copy it, but they decide to copy indefinitely until...
Well, that's why that's why I don't like otakus in general. I don't like otakus because the people who identify the fandom are just degenerate. They really are. I mean, if you identify, like, you just love all of anime, like, I don't like that. I'm not into that type of stuff.
Yeah, here's a good line
I've always said that. No, hang on, this is important because there are people who will watch anime because it's like there are types of anime out there that self-reference themselves. They're designed specifically to pander to a certain type of demographic that watches anime. I'm the kind of guy who likes anime that if you were to adapt it to, let's say, the live stream, the big screen, or let's say if you were to do a live action, it would still work. The ones that use the art media, the art of anime as a medium, not as a fandom in itself. If that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Here's a good line from the original Cowboy Bebop.
What am I doing here? Do not fear death. Death is always at our side. When we show fear, it jumps at us faster than light. But if we do not show fear, it casts its eye upon us gently, and then guides us into infinity.
Fucking far out. That's just some far out. That's some druggy shit right there. No, but welcome everyone. We got an interesting show for you today. That was a little bit of off the
pop culture digression.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of things. Like I think it was Razor Fist at one point who was talking about how him, Quartering, and a couple of other people were basically doing more for the culture war than the politicos out there, the Lauren Chins, the freaking Charlie Kirks, the freaking Stephen Crowders. Those guys are more political. The people who are actually reviewing culture and actually talking about it and rejecting it and participating in it, those people are actually more important in a lot of ways. So like people who are like film critics, like the freaking what are they called?
That guy with the glasses?
Not that guy with the glasses. They were actually part of the problem because we're seeing the same thing happen with Tim Pool, right? Like Tim Pool, I've always said is that guy with the glasses, but like for the I guess dissident right or dissident culture, if you will. But basically, it's going to become like what the hell is it? I'm trying to think. They're going to become more like I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, man.
But what Razor Fist was saying that the reason why they're more important
is the reason they're more important specifically is because they are actually engaging with culture. They're actually making product and critiquing it, and at the same time they're basically shit testers. They're shit testing the culture.
And more importantly, they're not keeping everything political because they're actually making things about culture. Because one of the things that I think it was Gramsci was referencing, the whole point of trying to control mundane culture things is to make everything political, make everything angry and regressive.
Yeah, exactly. And I agree with him on that. I agree with him. So I'm gonna be watching old animes. I think I'm gonna watch like old animes, like '70s stuff. That's what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna be doing that for culture. I'm gonna be like actually contributing to culture in the same way. Like I think like what you and I were doing with like weird exploitation films and shit like that, like the whole Love Witch and the whole we watched Cuties. Remember that? That's more important. Like actually like reviewing like the shit that's out there. Because I mean, let's be frank with ourselves. There's a lot of stuff out there that is just not being talked about enough. Like people like I don't I've never been to the movies. I haven't been to the movies in almost I would say the last time I went to the movies was to see Joker. Okay, that was like the last time I went to the movies. The last time I went to the movies before that was I believe coincidentally I think it was the Dark Knight Rises? Yeah, I think that's what it was. So I don't go to the movies a lot. Now, I am thinking about going to see The Matrix, the new Matrix movie. I'm almost certain I'm going to go see that one in theaters because why the fuck wouldn't you, right?
That's a coin flip for me.
Well, I mean, let me just say this. Like, whenever there's, like, a sequel, the last, like, first, like, reboot, if you will, I didn't get to go see the last, the Rise of, was it not the Rise of Skywalker? What was it? The Force Awakens, right? I didn't go to see that one, but I did not go to see it. I fucking was just being very skeptical of it, and I just eventually caved to do what a lot of people do when they're skeptical of a film and they don't want to pay for things. I get someone else to take me, or I get someone else, or I wait till it's out on video, essentially. Yeah, totally that. But the first time I actually went to go see a movie that was a sequel to like a trilogy was I went to go see episode 1 at one point. I saw it in theaters. I actually liked it. Again, I actually like Jar Jar. I was one of the few people who actually liked Jar Jar back in the day, but now I understand he didn't belong. But I want to go see The Matrix because this is the second time I'm actually going to see a sequel and actually have some standards. As a kid, I didn't have any standards. Okay. You put me in front of something, I'm going to like it one way or another or hate it one way or another. So I didn't really have that way to know why the sequels were shit and why, or the prequels were shit, I should say. And why I could say why the sequels were shit. I mean, can you even call them the sequels? Can you even call them that? I mean, like they're not even connected in any way. They just have similar characters, but there's no cohesive plot. I mean, they killed the big bad in the second movie. So what the hell? What's next, right? Like, I don't know. It just seems really, really off to me. Anyhow, but critiquing culture is important, and I'm probably gonna go see The Matrix this Christmas, probably. But going back to what I was originally gonna talk about. Let me see if I can pull it up here. I have it right here. I wanted to because let's just be frank. It's been a rough, not even a rough week, but like a more or less it's been a slow week. Like it's a grind. Let's just say that. One of the things. So as a result of that, basically the problem here is there's not much to talk about, and there's not much to talk about. That's basically when no news is good news. I guess is what I'm trying to say, but. I did see this, and this is again most of the stuff I'm talking about is going to be shit that's on Twitter. So this is basically garbage that I'm seeing on Twitter because he said, she said. That's when nothing's happening in the world. That's usually where people go. They go to Twitter and they start fucking with each other. All right. One of the things that I saw, and this is something that was posted. I'm going to send this to you, Luke. Take a look at this. Apparently. Abigail Shapiro shared this via, she was talking about which would you rather be, Madonna or Nancy Reagan? What would you rather have? Would you rather be Madonna at 60, or would you rather be freaking Nancy Reagan at 60? Now, I don't know much, but apparently Nancy Reagan was like sucked a mean dick. I'm not even kidding. Like that's what my lefty friend told me about. So. Let's see. for likening Madonna to Nancy Reagan, classically Abby, which again, I'll just say it right now. This is one of the reasons I don't like things happening, because why the fuck is Abigail Shapiro even a thing still?
She's the sister of Ben Shapiro.
Exactly. So she's basically of the Shapiros, you know, like whenever, like the House Shapiro, I should say at this point, because let's be frank, there's House Clinton, there's House Bush, there's House fucking Reagan, and now there's House Shapiro. Because let's be frank, that's what's happening now with a lot of these culture war people. What is Ben Shapiro like? Has Ben Shapiro ever done any honest work? Has Abigail Shapiro ever done any honest work? Have they actually, you know, done any work, like let's say work at a fucking Wendy's or something? That's a first starter job. Okay, I don't expect them to work at Wendy's all their life, but I've oftentimes said these people they're no more political. They're no more of a political. They're no more special than the Clintons are special. They're only there because of their family, you know. So basically, they're likening it to Nancy Reagan's sucking. Okay, let's not do this live, okay?
Well, it's Twitter, so it's okay.
Oh, I don't know about that. Twitter. Let me just say this. I can't talk about certain things that are happening in the news right now without Twitter censoring me. And at the same time, you know, there are other things that you would never think would be allowed to be talked about. And it's all kid friendly. Like a perfect example of this. Go look up, was it Andrew Dice Clay? I believe it's nursery rhymes. That freaking nursery rhymes, that whole video, I don't know what the YouTube algorithm was thinking. But apparently, it's for kids. It is listed up for kids. Okay, I don't know. I know this because, you know, if you can't minimize, like if you use what's it, YouTube Red, I believe it is. If you can't like minimize it, you can't minimize it in like Q or whatever it's called. So that's out there, but you know, I don't know. I'm just rambling, I guess. I don't know. All I know is that, you know, I just don't trust anybody who has a dynasty at this point. Because the only people who are having dynasties are the fucking politicos. You notice that?
Oh.
No, seriously, like you know, people who are having dynasties are, and again, it's media dynasties. It's not just or political media dynasties, I should say. Because let's be frank, Shapiro hasn't done any real work in his life. I mean, I can remember he fucking he said he wanted to be a lawyer, and then he dropped out. Apparently, I'm like, what you had a scholarship to go to a university, and you dropped out. I would never be a part of that. I would never ever in my life. I wouldn't drop out if that was the case. If they're paying my way, I'd fucking go all the way. Even if it wasn't going to be even if I wasn't, you know the whole notion, any degree is a good degree. Well, in this case, I would. If someone was paying my fucking way, I would. But, I don't like that, so I dropped out. I'm like, no, that's stupid. Don't do that. But Shapiro could do it because his family paid his way. And then, you know, and the reason I guess I don't like these type of people is because, you know, they're immune to natural consequences in a lot of ways. But again, I just it's really weird to me that, you know, they're talking about Abigail Shapiro like we're supposed to give a fuck.
Yeah, what is their concern when the article is just? Are they just saying that she's has no business
let's
commenting?
Look at this. For liking Madonna to Nancy Reagan, classically Abby faces criticism. Nancy Reagan's classic living was contrasted by Madonna's trashy living, and the internet erupted in rage today at which again that's subjective when she made the comparison. Many people, quote unquote, many people on Twitter made it plain that they wanted to be and live like Madonna, and she was drawn by them. She was drawn in by them in the best way. Okay, I don't copy, I guess. Nancy Reagan silenced Nancy Reagan's silence during the AIDS crisis in the 1980s was mentioned by another user when compared to this. Madonna's career was to raise millions of dollars for HIV and AIDS. Okay, that's actually something interesting because again, let's be frank with ourselves. Nancy Reagan's only relevant because of Ronald Reagan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the fact that Nancy Reagan herself has a steamy past was brought to the light by another user, according to Kitty Kelly's biography of the first lady. She was renowned in Hollywood for performing oral sex, unquote. So my lefty friend, she's a lefty, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what she's talking about, and I'm thinking to myself, do the lefties engage with the Shapiros because they're like well known? Like how much of the Shapiro's not relevant? No one cares about Shapiro. He's only there like I mean, yeah, he's not relevant anymore. Okay,
Well, he's relevant in the same way that TV is relevant.
There you go. That makes sense. He's live in every he plays. You could play him in the gym, and you could play him in, like, let's say, airports and shit like that. That's basically what it is. Because I'll be frank with you, Shapiro is a man of his time, and he used to be the one kid they pull out of the ether and make him go after leftists, right? But the problem is that the world has changed. Now everyone's trying. Now the people on the right are acting in collectivist terms. They are. Both sides are acting in collectivist terms. So so Abigail, for example, I wouldn't be surprised that there are people out there who literally like shill, like they do like astroturfing for these people. I wouldn't be surprised if the right wing is starting to astroturf themselves on both sides. Both sides. I think that they call it public relations. They wouldn't say it's astroturfing, but they'd say that they're PR people who would just shill for them. I think this is an example of that, because I'll be frank, when I saw this, I didn't really care. I was like, okay, it's classic Abby, moving on. Because I didn't really care. I mean, I followed her mostly because, let's be frank, the internet memes about Abigail Shapiro are far more interesting than Abigail Shapiro. I mean, again, I don't care about this person, but the lefties always go after them. So it's almost like they're like kept alive by the lefties' rage.
Let's see, what else? What has she been talking about lately? Let's see, her pinned comment, the Twitter that she wants to know about is here.
About women because you've been forgotten and left behind, as magazines and movies decided you're outdated. You've been told that the best way to be a woman is to act more like a man. You've been told that you don't
that explains
care about
the Madonna
women.
post.
I don't know, but I'll tell you this, and the one thing I'm noticing about a lot of these traditionalist women, a lot of these people like the fucking the Liberty Hangout chick, this chick, and a bunch of others, is that they are fucking flaunting. Like I guarantee, there it is, right there. That's the one up there. That's the one. Nope, not the pregnant one. The one below it.
Well, yeah, we've seen that one.
Yeah. So what were you asking about?
Nothing. I was just wondering if that was Abby right there. Or is that someone else?
That's her, apparently. She's knocked up, apparently. Which I'll just say it right now. I think a lot of these... It's disgusting that they flaunt this stuff at us. These politicos who literally don't do anything. But basically become lefty cannon fodder. Because that's sort of what they are. If you're smart enough to bunker down and not be a dumb fuck, you basically won't be fucked with by Shapiro. Right? If you're dumb enough, like, you could talk about Marxism all you want, you just can't preach it. You can know a lot about it, but like Shapiro, he doesn't really he can't take on the alt-right. He can't take them on. Like, he'll deplatform them. He'll talk about, the racist, but he'll never say why they're racist. He'll never explain that. I want to see Shapiro defend the Talmud. I want to see, like, Shapiro, debate like actual race realists and shit like that. I want to see that. I want to see it, and the reason I want to see it is because I want to see who wins and who doesn't. I want to see who could hold their own. But so far, a lot of these people, they why are they relevant? I think they're relevant because they're kept relevant by them basically egging on leftists, and I don't think what's this?
That's your Hanukkah song.
All right.
Light the candles left to right each night, go
I mean, do we really want? I mean, she in another tweet she talks about the real history of Hanukkah. Are you sure you want to go there? I mean, that would. I mean, if you know the history of Hanukkah, then that make people resent Jews more.
Yeah, and you know, at the same time, who cares? Again, I'm not gonna bash. I don't. It's not bashing Jews. That's not the issue. That's not the point. I don't hate. We don't hate Jews. I don't hate Jews. I just don't like the fact that I just don't like political dynasties. I don't like the idea of these people being so big and so becoming pillars of our communities.
Yeah,
Essentially,
I think one of the reasons why
without
we
actually
liked,
being useful.
yeah, I think one of the reasons we really liked YouTube is because it allowed us to be more nuanced and more interesting than television would allow us. And now these dynasty people, if you told them, are not allowing that level of nuance anymore. It's like breaking that down on the internet level.
Well, yeah, it's basically be going like when YouTube it basically will shill Steven Crowder more than, let's say, the Revenge of the Sis or the Ralph Retort or you know one of these independent types. When you don't see that being shilled, but you do see Steven Crowder and even Tim Pool be shilled, and you know they keep saying we're being demonetized, we're being kicked off the YouTube, and I'm thinking to myself, you guys are literally being shilled by them. Now, granted, if I turn on, let's say, if I just make a YouTube account, they're probably not going to shill you. They're probably not going to shill you guys. They're probably going to shill Vsauce, MatPat, and you know more popular topics than, let's say, politics or even right wing politics for that matter, or even left wing. They're going to shill culture. They're going to shill makeup videos. They're going to shill freaking the latest movie. Let's say movie.
Our students
trailer.
must read.
What is this classic learning test?
Classic learning test renewal. What is this?
What is this?
Our students must read great writers who are wrestling with the most profound conceptions of what it means to be human.
You're never going to make
That's an irony coming from Cornel West.
Jeez.
progress toward deep knowledge, not just imparting skills, not just telling people information. You're not going to get deep knowledge unless you are unsettling their settled beliefs.
Because once you,
I mean, to be honest, I mean, that's a nice idea, but most people don't care about greater things. Some people just want to know how to live their lives, and maybe they'll get around to the deeper knowledge.
Yeah, it's forcing this knowledge upon people, which, by the way, you should always ask, what the fuck is the curriculum? You know, like no, really.
Or specifically, what's the purpose of the curriculum?
Yeah, exactly. Like one of the things I've been looking for is the curriculum of, let's say, a police officer. What does a police officer have to do to become a police officer, let's say, in college? I want to say the same thing they studied. So that way I can actually effectively maneuver politically, but not only politically, but legally, more effectively, right? Mm-hmm. Like, don't you want to know who's gonna watch the Watchmen? You know, same concepts.
find that truth, goodness, and beauty found in this text, you can't look away.
Fire has a life of its own, and it wants to keep burning.
Perhaps the fire is not destructive after all. Perhaps the fire is just cleansing.
That fire not only turns into that warm, welcoming space, but it also creates something that burns inside of you to fix something that's wrong.
CLT seems to be a convener. It's calling everyone around the fire of classics. And we're sharing our stories through connecting through this test that we all need in our institutions.
What is this?
What is this?
Correct. What was it called? They called it a classic learning test. What is this? I want to look this up.
I want to look it up as well, because I hear a lot of Promethean speech, Promethean notions, like we gotta keep the fire burning. It's gonna cleanse you.
Let's see.
Like it's like the Prometheus. Okay, actually, go back to the main page, please.
The Twitter feed.
Classical learning test is a new alternative for the SAT Act. With your help, we are reclaiming the standards of education. Okay, so they're basically people who are trying to get rid of the. Okay,
Let's see.
keep going.
What is this? Better tests, blah, blah, blah. Colleges, what is this for? Huh.
Well, given the fact that we hear more from, let's see, who is following it?
Oh, well, Abby shared a tweet from it, so what's this all about? Let's see,
really
following by... don't know. I guess it's something. I don't know what it's all about.
We finished the trailer. I mean, it looks. Let's finish this off.
Let's see what this is.
Around the fire of classics, and we're sharing our stories through connecting through this test that we all need in our institutions.
People from every faith, people from every race, people from all sorts of backgrounds.
Let's let that fire burn in us to move us, to bring us together.
The test is geared towards young people and treating them like human beings.
We tell our young folk, don't worry about the titles and the prizes of the world. You follow your quest for truth, goodness, beauty, and the holy, and try to sustain a sense of what it means to acquire the highest level that you can relative to the gifts that you have and relative to the love that you have received. And then proceed with a style.
Who's he?
Colonel West. He's one of the most profound racial Marxists of our time.
Oh, so now we're dealing with. So we're basically dealing with. I felt a little bit of the of evil in him.
He's kind of like the prodigy or the teacher of people like Michael Eric Dyson.
I don't know who Michael Eric. I don't know who that is.
He's like this. Like he's you'll probably know him best with his little debate with Andrew Breitbart on the Real Time. Let's see if I can find a picture. Like he actually called Clarence Thomas ventriloquist for white supremacy.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So let me just say this. I don't know why she was saying this is great. Like, it's why? Like I honestly think that these politicos are again, you want to talk about conspiracy theories. Where's the representation? Like, real talk, where's the representation? People talk like a lot of people talk about representation because we're in a representative democracy. So what? No taxation without representation, right? At the same time, do you think any of these people politically represent us or even politically represent our issues that we go through every day?
Look, that's why I became a conservative.
Black people are intimidated from being conservative.
Yeah, because the Democratic Party has provided such largesse and wonderment to the Democratic Party.
I
defend
the Black Studies professors. My PhD is religion from Princeton. That's number one. Number two, I teach sociology, so I'm not in Black Studies right now, though it's a great reality.
Michael Eric Dyson served in 2009.
Served what?
Circa.
Oh. He looks like what's his name? Morpheus. He looks like a Morpheus with glasses.
What? That kind of. Let me tell you what you just did. You used a code language. The Black Studies people, right? In other words.
Okay, Neo, we're in the Matrix. You're in the Marxist Matrix. You have to take the blue pill in this case. It's because it's like Bizarro Land.
What I said. No, then I'm a racist.
Let me finish my point. I'm able to speak articulately. What I'm saying to you is that.
Ooh, he's so smart.
No, that's more of a. That's more like a. That's him basically saying, I'm a wise Negro. I know how to speak articulately. That's what that is. We all know it. That's what that is because there's this assumption that he's talking down to him because he's white or something like that. I guarantee you.
And this is him at normal speed. Watch.
What I'm saying to you is that you try to marginalize African American studies professors as somehow innately incapable of critical reasoning that attends to every other discipline in the American Academy. Number two, what you're suggesting is that because we would be critical of Clarence Thomas, you suggest that white supremacy as a notion can't inhabit black skin. Many people have suggested that you could be a black person articulating some very powerful notions against black people. You could be a ventriloquist as a black skinned person saying ideas that are corruptive of a tradition of black response. Number three, let me say this in closing.
Look, Widow's Peak.
Those of us who are
seriously, like they're really focusing on this guy's Widow's Peak. They make this guy sound like he's freaking like Martin Luther King looking at freaking Grizzly Adams, or not even Grizzly Adams, freaking like some fucking killer, Uncle Fester.
Of white supremacy, social injustice, economic inequality, and racism.
President Obama, baby.
Let me tell you what. One black man in public housing in D.C. does not solve the problems of
is the worst thing you can call a person in this country. There are tons of black people in this country who are Republicans who support this man.
They're not tons.
Okay,
Yeah,
next show, please have on a black conservative.
But what
to
you're saying,
explain
what you're
life.
saying is, if I actually think that he has racist tendencies,
Right.
that's
What
all,
is it? Give me
that's
the
all
evidence.
He sang Barack the Magic Negro.
Now, at this point, they're talking about Rush Limbaugh. And they're saying that when Rush Limbaugh played the clip of Barack the Magic Negro, which was based on an article that a liberal person wrote, they're trying to insinuate that Rush Limbaugh was a racist.
So basically, he retweeted something that's racist, and therefore he's racist.
Oh no, he developed a parody song based on an article that was actually called Barack the Magic Negro. That was written by a liberal. I wonder if I could find it.
Oh, dude, that sounds awesome. No, but like, again, Shapiro actually kind of did play identity politics in a lot of ways. Like if you think about it, a lot of this shit is brought on by the libertarians and the progressives. Because if you think, like, the first wave of SJWs that came through, like, they were held back by the Tea Party, right? Like, the Tea Party were the ones who were actually fighting back against this shit before Gamergate, right? Then Gamergate kicks off, and then everybody gets involved in the trench. Yours truly included, who gets involved in the trenches. We basically fight back against this crap, and now it's gone to the point where we need to get the heck out of here. We need to end this really quickly. Oh, Barack the Magic.
Before we go, I want to make sure I had this right article.
That was a liberal columnist from Los Angeles Times by the name of David Aronson.
Yep, that's him. This is it. Barack the Magic Negro. Every basic carbon-based life form on the planet surely knows Barack Obama, the junior Democratic senator from Illinois, is running for president. Since making his announcement, there has been no end of commentary about him in all quarters, musing over his charisma and prospect, his offers of being the first African-American president to be elected to the White House. But it's clear... let's see if I get this here. But it's clear that Obama also is running for equally important unelected office in the province of popular imagination, the, quote, Magic Negro, unquote. The Magic Negro is a figure of postmodern folk culture coined by snarky 20th century sociologists to explain a cultural figure who emerged in the wake of Brown versus Board education. Quote, he has no past, he simply appears one day to help the white protagonist, reads the description on Wikipedia. There is no... he's to assuage the, quote, the white guilt over the role of slavery and racial segregation in American history while replacing stereotypes of a dangerous, highly sexualized black man with a benign figure whom interracial sexual congress holds to no interest. As might be expected, this figure is chiefly cinematic, embodying such noted performances such as Snidely Potiphar, Morgan Freeman, Scatman Connors, Michael Clark Duncan, Will Smith, and most recently, Don Chintle. And that's not to mention a certain basketball player whose nickname is Magic.
Oh, jeez.
Let's see if this go on for a bit. Like a comic book superhero, Obama is here to help. Out of sheer goodness of a heart we need to not know or understand. For as with all magic Negroes, the less real he seems, the more desirable he becomes. If he were real, why America couldn't project all its fantasies and curative black benevolence on him.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And this is what... And then Rush Limbaugh made a song about Barack the Magic Negro based on this article.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. This is critical theory nonsense, man. Oh. But my question then becomes, where did this identity politics shit started? Because if you think about it, from a purely mathematical perspective, we were all one country, then we were fragmented again by the freaking Frankfurt School and all that, who turned the world into tribes. I would argue that we were always tribes. We were always tribes in this country. We were all, like, whether it be the Irish versus the Italians or the freaking or the Protestants versus the Catholics, or the natives pop versus, let's say, the people who coming from all around the world, right? Like in gangs in New York. I would argue we've always collectivists to a certain degree.
Oh, yeah, I found this. I think I found the song. Here it is.
Oh, here we go. What's this?
Let's see.
Welcome, Parker. Welcome at Triple X.
Barack, the magic Negro, lives in D.C. The LA Times, they call him that cause he's not authentic like me. Yeah, the guy from the LA paper said he make guilty whites feel good. They'll vote for him and not for me cause he's not from the hood.
That is probably going to get me kicked off the air. Jeez, that's pretty fucked.
This was way back in 2009.
Well, it was right around the time when all hell broke loose, didn't it? I mean, I don't know what it was, but 2007 was the year that America died. 2007 was the year America died, or I should say 2007, 2008, rather. And the reason, well, it didn't die, but like it got knocked out. Like it got hit by a semi-truck or something. And a lot of the bad shit that we're dealing with today started in 2007, 2009, 8. The housing crisis happened. The freaking crazy SJW started to hatch, if you will. I'll say they hatch because that's what they are. They hatch. And, my question is, from once being a one country, now we're all a bunch of tribes. What's the only tribe that matters? Right? Like what is the tribe that matters? What is the tribe that matters at the end of the day? Like, because let's be frank, we're tribalists by nature. Even if you acknowledge, like I said before, even if you acknowledge, let's say the Protestants versus, let's say, Catholics, or let's say native versus foreign, or whatever it might be, even if that were the case, which one actually matters? Because certain identities overlap. There is such thing as you could very well argue intersectionality does matter. It does matter in the grand scheme of things, because if you want to have, like, say, a patriotic nation, you have to have something that holds them all together, right? And we don't have that. We don't have that anymore. Like, there are certain things, like, going back to what you were saying about building culture, having fun, let's say, playing Mech Warrior. I think that's what Razorfist plays, right? Mech Warrior?
He plays lots of things, but that's one of his favorite. Yeah.
Oh, that's because I've been watching some of this stuff. I think it was watching him. He was playing Halo Infinite, which apparently is Far Cry now. I don't know why they like it's getting to the point where the genres are the titles. The last generation's titles are becoming genres. Like, we have Far Cry, and then we have like Street Fighter beat 'em up. Always playing. Oh.
Let's see. He played Halo Infinite last. So is this what it looks? Oh, no, that's his intro for his arcades. Let's see.
He's gone really good. High budget. I mean, this guy's kind of like the son of. I don't want to like bash him or anything, but this guy's kind of like the son of Doctor Disrespect. Like, they could be like. Have you seen Dr. Disrespect? I didn't know who he was until the whole until he got censored, believe it or not. And that's another thing that's kind of sad, is that we have a bunch of these freaking
whole hosts of YouTube history has been lost because of arbitrary quote unquote arbitrary rules.
Oh boy.
I miss that. I miss the fact that these aren't preserved these aren't saved for posterity. You have to go somewhere else and maybe do a careful search engine. You could maybe find them.
Oh, I've seen this one. Oh, this is from Daft Punk. This is that whole that him walking into the arcade. That was Daft Punk. That's from a Daft Punk video. I actually I don't know. We're probably gonna get hit from it if I show it. Well, you know what? Let's try it. Why the fuck not? Yeah, that's Daft Punk. That is so Daft Punk. That's from Daft Punk D-Rez's.
So who is Dr. Disrespect?
Well, he was like some streamer like very, very way back in the day, like back when like the age of yore, but he always was around. He just sort of aged like wine, essentially. Yeah, that
Is this
guy.
him?
That's him. That's what he looks like.
I guess he's live right now. So what's he up to?
We're not gonna we're not gonna screen snipe the guy.
So
I don't
no,
wanna
he's
screen-
not live. He was live a little while ago. But a 5-hour stream.
Yeah.
What is he playing?
don't know.
Fortnite Chapter 3.
He reminds me very much like let me just say this. If anyone were to become like the next Dr. Disrespect, it would almost certainly be Razorfist. It almost certainly, like me, I'm like what I'm at right now. I feel like speaking of freaking the Dark Knight Rises, I am like the guy from Third Rock to the Sun. You know the guy who played Robin, right? Everyone knows him as Robin. But I was more like that character, and I'm going on my own journey to become the next whatever the fuck it is. Because I am looking forward to. I want to start making more content. I want to start critiquing more content. I think I'm going to do that. I'd like to have you on at some point in the near future to like review some actual old like 70s anime and stuff like that, or like more like exploitation type of stuff. If you're down. I don't know if you're down for that in the near future, because I guess what I'm doing is I kind of, in this particular, I have like New Year's resolutions for the channel. If that makes any sense. I want to have more content. I want to start playing more games and shit like that. You know? Any case. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that was when I was on Twitter with the whole Abby clip. One of the things going trending right now is and that it's just like that, and it's something about Sex in the City.
Oh jeez, dude. Sex in the City is awesome. Sex in the City is what?
What?
Sex in the City is like it's degenerate. It really is. Like I never understood it. Like when it was airing back in the 90s, I didn't even care. I just didn't really give a shit about it. I know my parents didn't watch it. They hated it. But, yeah. Consumerism is bad, but I really do want an Xbox Series X. Dude, my advice, save up your money, buy yourself a computer. And right now, they're cheap. All you need to do is buy yourself a good little Sandy Bridge computer, and then invest a lot of money in power supply, RAM, and most importantly, the GPU. And you will have yourself a game that you can play most video games on. I don't know why, unless you want to play, on a Series X for exclusives, which I don't know if there's any exclusives. I haven't owned a console. I haven't purchased a new console since the PS3. Let me just say that, because again, I just don't like consoles. I don't like the idea of every time I have enough money to pick up one, I actually might, now that I think about it. I might actually be able to do that, because I have the money. There's no excuse. It's just I just don't see the point. I'd rather have a computer, one size fits all, one machine fits all. That way I can invest a lot of money into that machine. Instead of just, the Xbox Series X is gone. Now we get the Series Y, and then we get the Series Z, and then we get the Series Omicron. Which maybe in the future that might exist. I don't know. But I will say this: I have a friend that might actually have contracted that.
Oh, that's what since Sex and the City is trending because one of the main characters, or long-standing characters, has been killed off.
They're still playing that fucking film?
Apparently.
How old is Sarah Jessica? Is she even in that film? She looks like a foot. Like, how could she be on there? That must be nepotism. If she's done that still, then that's nepotism. No one wants to look at you, crusty old whore. Like, no one wants that.
Although I don't remember, I saw a video earlier about how one of the earlier writers laments the fact that she does she basically grew up without a family. Like, she was the businesswoman, and I don't know, can't confirm it. A YouTube video was pointing out that she laments the fact that she doesn't have a family.
Yeah,
I could find that video, but can't find it.
Good point. You can get Xbox Game Pass on PC. Yeah, but I don't know how you would redeem it. I think you could probably only redeem those Game Passes through, let's say, an Xbox. So I don't know how you would be able to do it. You'd have to be able to purchase it. Maybe you can get some sort of altered firmware on your Xbox so you could do it. Again, I don't know. But all I know is the only game system that I honestly want in this day and age is a PSP that has ROM emulation on it. Like that's the only thing that I would actually use and have a handheld, like for gaming consoles, would be a PSP, and have it so that I could load like Super Nintendo and games like that on it. That's the only reason I would even ever have, let's say, any form of console. So, and they sell them, so I might actually pick one up for Christmas. I don't know. All I know is I've done it a lot for people this year in regards for Christmas, or even the New Year's. Like I gave, I believe, they gave away 4 turkeys. That was actually pretty cool. And yeah, so besides the whole Game Pass thing, I wanted to talk more about. I had another topic I wanted to talk about. Now, this is to exemplify my whole talking point about how politics has become cancer because of social media in a lot of ways, and there are dynasties, and there are people who want to kill the dynasties. And someone like I've talked about Borysenko before on this podcast, and I've said there are certain things she's correct about, such as using the semantics to try to inject identity politics into things, which again is less of a content issue so much as it's a context issue. If you see people try to, let's say, push for white well-being as a response to black well-being, you both are fucked up. You both done goofed. So this is something I wanted to talk about because I don't know who I didn't even know who Mike Harlow was. I had no idea who he was, but he apparently was a gentleman who was part of that whole walk away thing. You know about that?
Mark Harlow. Wasn't he like one of the leads of it?
Yeah, he was one of the leads of it. Let me see if I can find it. Mike Harlow, which sounds like a fucking monster's name. Just saying. No, it does. It sounds like a fucking... let me see if I can find it here. Who is he?
Someone's been permanently banned from Twitter.
Public figure. What does he say on this fucking writer, YouTuber, punk, ball breaker, shit. Okay. All right. I get it. What are you? I don't know who the fuck.
I guess he's like Milo Yiannopoulos, I guess.
He's basically trying to be Milo Yiannopoulos without being Milo Yiannopoulos. But in a lot of ways, Milo, as well as Andrew Breitbart, kind of stirred things up in the whole culture war. I think that if they were smart, they would have not played identity politics when they just said Marxist professors. That's all you had to do. You do not need to call Democrats. The fact that they played the Democrat card was stupid. That's like me playing the Jew card. And you say, well, what do you mean by playing the Democrat card? How they're not the same thing. It's like me saying the Republicans instead of saying Mitch McConnell, or Ted Cruz, or, what the hell is her name? Let's go to the Democrats now. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, people like that. If you say that, you could point to the person. One of the things that Andrew Breitbart didn't do, and he didn't do this well enough, is he never held the individual accountable. He just said the Democrats, the Marxists. And yes, you could talk about Marxists in the context, but unless you have somebody on your physically, to hold on trial, you're wasting your time with identity politics. They'll hide and they'll say, oh, you don't like me because I'm a Jew. You don't like me because I'm a Muslim. You don't like me because I'm black. That's what they do. Now, click this. Look, I want to continue with this.
Karlyn made a whole video without me.
Hey guys, welcome back to my little channel. It's been a bit of a while. Sorry, I'm sort of just now kind of getting back into the swing of things. Yeah, I guess I will just jump right in.
He looks like, pause it.
The video that I want.
He looks very, very much like Kaiser Nico. Do you know who Kaiser Nico is, right? Kaiser Nico from Team 4-Star. He was the guy who's their editor.
Oh, yeah?
Him? Yeah, let's see if I can find a picture of him. I'll send you a pic. Keep playing it.
Wanted to make. I considered making it a year ago. I chose not to. This is not what I want to be focusing on. This is not the sort of thing I want on my channel. It's not the energy I want to be surrounded by. I've kind of been given no choice. This person has been lying about me for a year nonstop. I feel like I've ignored probably 90 to 95% of her attacks, and they're still ongoing. So, I told Karlyn a year ago, stop lying about me, and I will stop telling the truth about you. She chose not to do that, so now it's truth time. Truth hurts. Karlyn likes to say everyone is canceling her. I don't think she really knows what that word means. No one's canceling her. She can do whatever she wants. The only thing that I've been trying to cancel her from for the last year is my life. In the last year, Karlyn has made 8 or 9 different videos lying about me, bashing me, attacking me that I know of. She's made 3 different videos bashing me just this week. I know she's in a bit of hot water right now for saying that Jews chose to die in the Holocaust, but in my opinion...
Oh yeah, that needs to be addressed. We're going to talk about that, because I know what that one is, and that's some context. So, essentially, one of the things she stated was she basically stated a Gnostic perspective on reality, that as spirits, she believes that everyone's a spirit before they come to Earth. It's very much a Gnostic perspective, that the idea that you fall from heaven and you inhabit a body. And the concept that she was asserting is that sometimes as a spirit, you may want to inherit suffering. You want to feel suffering and experience it, and that way you could share the knowledge with the collective. So that was sort of the notion behind it. She assumed that there was a utility to knowing suffering, which is true. But that doesn't necessarily mean that people are predetermined after, let's say, or before, or actually not before, but she basically was arguing predestiny while simultaneously arguing free will existed, essentially. That you have the free will in this life, but you chose predeterminately before you were born to suffer in this life. So, like, things that were literally not within your control, like, let's say your dad raping you, or the Holocaust, she basically was arguing that was predestination, and you before you were even born chose that. Now that's Kaiser Neko, for those of you who don't know. He's a great guy. He's also a furry. That's the Neko part, but again, I'm just sort of seeing the dimorphism here, like not the dimorphism, but I guess like the taxonomy. What's the one where they all look the same? Like there's like a certain type of like the widow's peak versus, let's say, the like the different attributes for like people who look ugly because they think ugly thoughts and things like that. You know about that?
Oh, what was that called?
Anyhow, the point is, it was supposedly a debunked science, but I'm starting to notice that there's a certain type of people who have the same type of look. Anyhow, so besides basically Karen basically arguing that the reason you're there is because you wanted to be there before you were even born, before you were even consciously aware in the spirit realm. So you basically, that's basically what it is. It's Gnostic. Okay, keep going.
Let's see. Everyone who died in the Holocaust chose to die in the Holocaust before they were ever born because collectively wanted to understand the experience of the ultimate oppression. That's why Hitler went to heaven.
Yeah. So the idea was that Hitler is in heaven because...
What? Oh, well, she's not Christian, so yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Again, a lot of the things people need to understand is that I'm more interested in taking on the cultural heathen, because the cultural heathen has the ability to vote. This bitch has the ability to vote. Okay?
I mean, if Hitler is in heaven, then who isn't in heaven?
Probably Gandhi. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. Keep going.
In the Holocaust, but in my opinion, that's honestly not even one of the more egregious things that she's done. So we traveled the country for half a year together. We were sort of friends for a while. So I'm going to tell you guys about
yes.
the half year that I spent around this person at the time since then. I'm just going to tell you about my experience with Karlyn, who is truly one of the most horrible people I've ever met. This is the first and last time I'm going to talk about it on here or elsewhere. At a certain point, enough is enough. I'm sick of the lying. I'm sick of the manipulation.
Where's the question, how many people have you met?
Well, even then, like, I personally think that the whole walk away thing was degenerate. The whole walk away movement is degenerate, and the reason it was degenerate was because it was supported by Republicans. It was supported by people from they made it inherently political.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I know, and that's part of the problem. What they should have done is they should have described the Democrat Party, but never say the Democrats. And then put it out there and say, I'm sick of the party that does this. I'm sick of the party that does that. I'm sick of the party. Just say the party. That's all you had to say. You didn't have to say Democratic Party. You didn't have to say Republican Party. Just say the party. And that way, because SJWs always project, they would have answered the call. Right? But because the Republicans funded it, basically... What you're going to see is you're going to see the inherent tribalism of the system. You're going to see Democrat versus Republican. This is how we get people like Mark Harlow to basically be, and even to a certain degree Borysenko, with the Republicans or with the people who are anti-SJW. They're not even. Some of them might very well be creatures of the swamp, or not even creatures of the swamp, but creatures of the very similar to the SJW, but they're just not the same type of undead. I've oftentimes said the SJW is an undead creature, a zombie, and sometimes you might pull out a vampire. In this case, you might have pulled out a vampire. Here you go, play it.
Manipulating. You got to stand up for yourself at some point. I've tried to stay semi-quiet about her the last year, and she's still lying about me and going after me, as she does with everyone. You know, this is a person that no matter where she goes, no matter who she's with, she can't get along with anyone. She's fighting with everyone. You know, I was thinking in my head today of a list of like all the people that she's had big public feuds with. And, you know, I generally get along.
Well, some of these people are scumbags anyway. Oh, Larry Elder. Was he? She had an issue with him for?
Well, actually, let's look into that, because here's the biggest problem. This guy is basically making the appeal that every single person you have a shit with. Like again, what does it mean to like call people out? That's what I want to know. So, like for example, I've called out Larry Elder multiple times on Twitter because he didn't audit the election. He didn't call for an audit. I called out Cassandra Fairbanks because she uses a program that makes it more likely that someone could fake a screen capped tweet that she made, because she has a program that deletes her tweets after 30 days, right? I called out Hunter Avalon because he basically was a leftist and he was barely out there, you know? What else do we have up here? Keep going up.
I'll back up the list a little bit.
Back up the list a bit.
Let's see. Karen Smith.
Okay,
Tim Pool.
Matt Walsh is one. Tim Pool I've called out many times.
Ian Mouse Chong.
Chong Man. Tree of Logic. I've talked about her a couple times. Jack Posobiec, not so
Sargon
much.
of Akkad.
Yep, I've talked about Sargon.
Chen. Karlyn.
Like again, here's the difference between what she does and what I do. I talk about when I have a disagreement, but at the same time, they are the talk of the town. They are celebrities. They are political figures. They are public figures. The problem here is they're internet celebrities. So there's a celebrity angle. Well, you're the only reason you're trying to go after, not Brandon Tatum or whatever, but let's say the only reason you're talking about, let's say, Ronald Reagan is because you want to get with Nancy or something. You want to get, the only reason you're talking about this person is because you want fame or something like that. You're clout chasing. But I'm not one of those people. I just want to be able to talk about what they have to say. You know, keep going.
Along with most people, enough is enough, and you have to stand up for yourself to a bully. And this is the biggest bully I've ever met. I'm really going to try my best to just keep this factual and not personally attack her. You know, I'm sure I will. I'll do my best, as they say. I honestly intend for this to be the last time I ever have to talk about her. I don't ever want to have to talk about her again. You know, I know that she is probably going to blow a gasket, and the hate campaign will start up times 10. I'll tell you in advance everything she'll say. I am lying.
Opinions on reincarnation. You only live twice. One life for yourself and one for your dreams. That's what I gotta say about that.
I'm out to get her. I'm plotting again. You know. Okay, you know, I have nothing to prove. So. Karlyn seems to think that she's entitled to just lie and lie and lie about people, attack them, smear them, vilify them, and that she's entitled.
Okay, pause it 1 second. Don't ever use the word entitlement around me again, or I will show you what real entitlement is.
Not responding. So, sorry, you know, she's a bully, but she will not.
Such as.
You want me to tell you?
I'm waiting for him to tell me an example of a lie.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
And it's swollen, so if it sounds like lisping and slurring my words, that's why. Oh, such a mess. So I guess I'll just jump right in. So I first knew of Karlyn because she was actually a follower of mine on social media before. At the time, I was like, I thought I was kind of just like a bad person or something for thinking that. So I sort of just like brushed it off, and that was something. And it just gave me a really weird feeling about me online that made me really uncomfortable, or I don't know. It was a red flag. Yeah. So eventually we started traveling together with Walkaway. And I don't remember exactly when the red flag started. I think one of the early ones that I remember, though, is there was something about the way that she would post about me online that made me really uncomfortable, or I don't know, it was a red flag, which...
So he didn't bother to research this or have notes? Or receipts?
He has notes. He has notes and receipts. He does. But a lot of this stuff boils down to she has an opinion, and she has a right to have an opinion. She has a right to have her opinion, just like I have a right to have my opinion. The difference here is she has some shit opinions. But has she broken any rules? Now, with that type of mindset, there's a certain level of respect you have to have. Now, I'm of the opinion that this bitch, and again, I'm not going to call her a bitch for now because she's going to be a bitch. She's the type of person who will say, I haven't broken the rule, but I've definitely broken all social norms. Fuck, what are you going to do, sue me? That's sort of what I think, that's what I think Borysenko is. She's one of these punk bitches. And yeah, punk bitches is probably the best way. Like punk, you know, do it yourself, DIY, but don't fuck the system. That's what I think she is. Now, that's how I see it. Now, again, you don't always want those people in politics. You may want them in culture, for example. That's someone think about that.
Because, normally I love when my friends post about me. I post about my friends all the time. If you look at me and Peter, we're always posting. This felt different. It was strange because she would post like unnecessary stuff, always using my full name. Like, Mikey Harlow did this, Mikey Harlow did that. I'm on the phone with Mikey Harlow did this. And it just gave me a really weird feeling. Something about it was a bit of a red flag. It just felt uncomfortable. I don't know. But at the time, I was like, I thought I was kind of just like a bad person or something for thinking that. So I sort of just like brushed it off. And that was something that would happen a lot throughout the course of the following months. Is I would sort of have this instinct and I wouldn't listen to it, and I would think, oh, I'm wrong, I'm misinterpreting or whatever.
Good night, Holy Mystic.
I think,
Good night, Holy Mystic.
Not to toot my own horn or anything, but I think people who follow me, look at me as being somebody who's pretty honest or trustworthy or sincere. And she's none of those things. She's not honest. She's not trustworthy. She's not sincere. She's not authentic. And I think she wanted that sort of credibility or that association. And I think she probably also wanted a foot in the door with friends of mine who were, sort of well known, I guess. And I've sort of heard.
I've never heard of you until this moment, so if she's riding on your coattails, I don't see it.
Yeah, honestly, I never heard of him either. In fact, if you look at him, if you look at who, let's see, go scroll down a bit. I think he has like 5,000 subs.
See, 5.23 thousand subs.
Right, and if we look up who Karlyn's,
and she has about. Oh, do they hide her info these days? Let's see what's.
Well,
her subscription number is gone.
What? She hid her subs. That's interesting.
Huh.
Well, we go as Social Blade it. You want to go Social Blade?
Oh, sure. Let's do that.
Let's do Social Blade on this because I want to see this in real time. Nothing against Borysenko.
But if she's checkmarked too.
Oh boy. Oh no. Okay. Rule of thumb: never trust never trust a check mark. They will always lie.
She has.
They think they're important.
Let's
really
see.
important. So important that they have to get a blue check mark to let you know that they are who they say they fucking are.
Let's see.
So
according to this, 107,000.
107,000 subscribers.
Against your 5,000.
So I think this guy's talking shit immediately.
Yeah.
Or it could just very well be that this guy did one good thing with the whole walk away campaign. He had his 15 minutes of fame, and she's overestimated his value, I guess, or his social capital, perhaps. I don't know. Keep going.
I mean, if I recall correctly, whenever she was part of the whole walkaway, she would always give the full names of all the people involved to give credit to them or to say, oh, these people are here. This is awesome. I'm signing them.
So, okay. So I think that may very well be her case. Maybe she does. Maybe she has she is libertarian, so perhaps it is a matter of ownership.
Halfway in. That's just my assumption. I have no proof. That's just my opinion. To be very specific here. So I think the first big red flag, or what should have been the big red flag at the time, I'm stupid, so it wasn't, but was what happened at the Ingleside Hotel. People ask me about this a lot, so I will tell you guys exactly what happened. So we were both going to Milwaukee for the Myth-Informed event. Karlyn, for some reason, I don't know why, had gotten there a day early, and I was arriving the next day. So she called me at one point in the afternoon and just complaining about everything, complaining about the hotel. It wasn't good enough for her. It was ugly, it was whatever, it was dirty, it was beautiful, by the way. So then she told me that she was fighting with the staff, and they were, all attacking her. So what the issue was apparently is to get to, they have a water park in there. It's super cool. They have, an indoor water park. So to get in, basically, your ticket for entry is a wristband. So they asked to see her wristband, and she didn't want to put it on. And so she was apparently, abusive to the staff. I don't remember the exact words she used at the time, but she said, they were asking her to put on a wristband, and they were screaming at her, and they were...
He said, she said, this is stupid.
Yeah, it is. Now, I will say this about the whole... She's gonna talk about MAGA hats in a second. Keep playing it.
Or taking someone's side because, with somebody saying that they were attacked by the people who have opposite politics from us. Anyone who tells you that they're immune to that is lying. I'm certainly not. I like to think I am usually, but clearly not. So, I just took her word for it. And the thing is, her story very quickly started to fall apart. So the hotel said that she was being abusive to the staff at the pool.
Blah.
This hotel had hosted Mike Pence, Trump Jr. They hosted us also, this big, mostly right-leaning conference. And I should say also, it was a beautiful hotel. Every single person there was just really lovely. I never got so much as a dirty look. So it turns out, though, there were actually a couple of witnesses who saw what happened and posted comments online. And the funny part is, one of them calls himself a conservative. The other is a gay Trump supporter. So it's not like these are just leftists who are out to get her. So this guy claims that the staff was perfectly nice to her. She wouldn't put her wristband on. He says she was going there just to start shit. He said, this morning there was a bomb call and we all got evacuated. My kids didn't want to stay because they were scared. That was our
receipts. Here we go.
only vacation this year. But at least your point was proven. So this guy, who's a gay Trump supporter, says that it had absolutely nothing to do with her MAGA mask. I mean, they employ him, and he's a Trump supporter, so I doubt.
Which, by the way, MAGA masks are cringe. MAGA masks are cringe. MAGA hats are cringe, except during election time. If you go around walking around with a MAGA hat, you're a fucking idiot. The reason you're an idiot is because if there were people who actually wanted to discriminate against you, they won't do it overtly. And if they knew about it, they could. And guess what? It's your word against theirs. And then you'll say, oh, it's because I'm a MAGA guy. No, it's because whatever reason I want to insert. I don't have to give you a reason why I discriminate against you. I don't have to give you a reason why I treated you differently. You could argue it's the MAGA hat. I could argue anything under the sun. So don't give them a reason to go after you. Okay? Yes, you're better off not giving out your location with your freaking MAGA hat, except during election times. That's it. Yeah, I'll keep going.
That she was banging on people's doors, yelling racial slurs about black people. Again, I wasn't there. I have no idea if that's true or not. What I think is really interesting, though. So this person claims that she's fighting white identitarians, and if you don't use the exact language that she demands, you're a white supremacist, you're an anti-Semite. What I think is really interesting is that at the time, she claimed that one of the reasons for this was she was discriminated against for being white because black people worked at the hotel.
They were harassing me because I'm a woman. They were harassing me because I'm white, because there were a lot of people of color at this hotel, and I have no issue with that. I don't really care.
I mean, I know they're very much not used to seeing white women in Wisconsin. They're like, we don't like your kind around here. So
okay. This guy's having way too much fun about this. He's having like that right there is what you call a fuck. Like he's sticking his tongue out. And if he really did not want to make this, he's having too much fun. Like maybe, like again, it's a 1 hour fucking thing, right? So of course, how many takes do you think he had of this? He could have easily just done it, take by take, word by word. Oh, Doc Holliday's on. Let's see what he has to say.
Swarmed with threats and nastiness, all based on her line.
I wrote a whole doctoral dissertation about workplace bullying.
So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, she is basically like the white.
What is this?
And that's a big life lesson, to be more skeptical and to not automatically believe someone when they say they were wronged by the people who you disagree with.
And if you go right now and you look at the Ingleside Hotel Twitter account, swarmed with threats and nastiness, all based on her line.
I wrote a whole doctoral dissertation about workplace bullying.
So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, she is basically
okay. Pause it for a second. I did a whole doctoral dissertation about bullying. I don't think anyone would. That's slang. You know, Roosh did a whole doctoral dissertation about picking up women. That's slang. I would imagine that would be slang. Again, maybe I'm playing devil's advocate here, but that to me sounds like it's slang. She's not being literal. She's being hyperbolic. That's just that'd be my way of looking at it. Okay. Anyhow, keep going.
I think she really genuinely believes her lies. She's just like the most frustrating kind of liar because she's the type who will just stand in your face and look you in the eye and say, this wall is black. And then will scream. She's like, why won't you say the wall is black? Do you hate black walls? The wall is black. Like there's clearly issues there, is all I'm saying. And by the way, I should say, this is a very common thing that she does, that she attacks underlings. You know, she's not nice to service workers. She's gone after like Dunkin' Donuts for getting her order wrong. She's gone after them on Twitter. She's gone after service workers. She went on
So have I. Like real talk. Like I've gone after DoorDash multiple times. You know why? They bring my food cold. They fucking they give it cold and they bring it to me when it's like most of the time they don't even give it to me. They don't hand it off to me anymore. So they just leave it there. I saw a guy have my order and he basically ate it without me even knowing about it. So like I'm gonna leave a negative. I'm not using DoorDash anymore. I will rather pay the extra money and order fucking pizza directly. So like most of the stuff is dick move, but it's not really evil. You know? So, I guess the libertarian will let him go. Right? Let's keep going.
Because they overcooked her steak and she made up a bunch of shit about them. So, she's a very nasty person. So anyway, we continued traveling every week, doing walkaway events and stuff, and we had become friends. And, you know, honestly, I was never fake or anything in my friendship with her. I was genuine. But, I don't know, I would just... Certain things would happen that would give me very weird instincts about her, very weird vibes about her. But I sort of didn't listen to those instincts and ignored them and thought I was wrong or I'm, you know, misinterpreting whatever. I think sort of the main thing with that, how do I put this? I don't know. There's a certain type of female who I hadn't encountered this in a long time. I experienced it a lot when I was like 20. I think it's not so common nowadays, but there's a certain type of woman who treats gay men like a poodle in their purse, like a fashion accessory in a very disrespectful, very diminutive way. They're always very manipulative. They're always very controlling, and they all kind of they talk at you. They always have the same sort of way about them, and that was very much how she was with me. Every single gay man watching this knows exactly what I'm talking about because we've all encountered these types. We've all dated a guy who always had that one female friend who would like get in the way. I call these types the my gays type. You know, these women who are like, oh, my gays, like shut up. Sorry, I am not that genre of gay guy. And also, what I think is part of that
is there genres of gays now, Luke? I'm learning so much.
I guess I don't really study homosexuals or homosexuality that much, except to the extent that's a sin.
Well, yeah. I mean, that way lies damnation. You're walking the fence there, my friend.
Right.
Seriously. You don't want to walk on the other side of the bathhouse.
I mean, I did learn through like Aiden Paladin that apparently transsexual, no, not transsexuals, but the bisexuals are the most hated group of the LGBT coalition.
Bisexuals?
Yeah, apparently both lesbians and gays basically hate bisexuals because of just prejudicial reasons.
I think it's because they have the ability to expand. They have the ability to love more. If that makes any sense. No, literally they do. By sheer numbers, they do.
I guess so. Yeah, a lot of.
Aros.
I mean, they are people united in ire, so.
Well, they're united in Aros as well. Anyhow, let's keep going.
Really mad if anyone liked me or was nice to me or said nice things about me. Like, she would always seem very possessive and very controlling. I just remember there was this one time that stands out that we were at a bar with my friend AJ, who's one of my best friends. And I guess, like, you know, we're really close friends, so we kind of, I guess, have a high opinion of each other. So we're standing, the three of us talking, and he's, like, telling her about how we met, that when we first met, I let him stay at my house, and he's just kind of, like, saying some nice things about me. She was fuming. She's sitting there, like, scowling. And so then he said something like, oh, Mikey's the best, or Mikey's awesome, or something. And she goes, well, he gets a little too big for his britches sometimes. And I didn't quite know what that meant. I still don't know what she meant by that. It was as if
it sounds like she's a mom. That sounds like a mom thing. Like I've always gotten the one thing I've gotten off of Borysenko is she's very much like a mother bear type of figure. If that makes any sense.
Like she's not a what's the word? A mother hen?
Nah, she's not one of those types. No, she's yeah. I don't know.
Show me my place beneath her. There were a lot of things like that. Like at our events, if someone who would come to see us speak, like if it was somebody that I knew from social media or someone who liked me or whatever, when we were talking, like she was just standing there looking pissed, like this very controlling, possessive sort of thing. And the thing is, even I never said a word about this to anyone, and I definitely never said anything about this online. But even as recently as this week, I was still doubting myself about that. I was like, did I misinterpret that? Was it in my head? Was I wrong? And what's funny is I got a bunch of comments from people who come to our events and met us, and they were saying that they noticed that she was very possessive, that she looked mad when they were like taking pictures with me or when we were talking. So I feel like that's something that sort of reaffirms trust your instincts. What I know now, looking back, is that she was kind of basically trying to groom me into being her pet.
Okay,
no.
You don't get to claim what people's intent is. No more than I get to claim that her intentions were right or your intentions were wrong. Based on what I could see, it seems like a lot of this is nitpicking, and she's just a fucking cunt. That's what it boils down to. Nothing really that's and again, this is where it boils down to, politics, right? Is this people just trying to smear each other for sake of smearing so they can get clout? Or is this, people who legitimately have done something wrong and as a result are a threat to everyone? And, with the age of NFTs, you guys better be careful because this type of shit slinging eventually is going to get legal. And the more, we have like the cryptos, we already have cryptocurrency. So now we can actually have like people pay in crypto for a system of jurisprudence for slander and shit. And we already have the infrastructure to basically facilitate it. We already have people saying you can't send people tweets, let's say ivermectin or something like that. Oh, literally, like I guarantee you that, keep fucking around and you're going to eventually find you're going to build a market for order on the internet. You got to get along with each other. We're like in Deadwood right now. We're governing ourselves to the best of our ability, but this type of petty political, back and forth is going to basically destroy any form of a new culture coming out of it. Because the only one's coming out, two cultures enter, one culture leaves, in the Thunderdome of the fucking culture war. Keep blowing.
her basically just her backing vocals. And you know, I'm sorry, I don't want to be mean to other people, but if you look at the gay men that she like has on her channel and stuff like that, I'm sorry to say, but like, you know, they're very obedient. They're very submissive. You know, I don't want to.
What are they?
But, you know,
I don't know. No. This is very important. How the fuck do you know they're submissive? Like the way he says is submit. What are they supposed to do? Fight back a bit more? What? Because you personally would like to push back? I mean, this is projection in a lot of ways. It really is. Like I don't know enough about what he's talking about. He's making the assertion. He's making an appeal to an identity, personal, private revelation or collective revelation that, like, just like how like only. Like white people are racist, they are the devil, but black people, because they have that melatonin, they're closer to the earth and shit like that. It's like this personal racial identity politics crap.
Yeah,
so he's basically doing the same thing that the freaking what were you gonna say?
Yeah, he also his argument and presentation also relies on the idea that his viewers are big followers of Karlyn, and they're watching all this and they can see all this. Like, well, what if I've never seen her before?
Well, I let me just say this. I saw her, and she wasn't really relevant until she started playing the whole notion that anti-white or anti-white is considered a racist, right? It's basically racist. The anti-white is racist, or I'm a white advocate. You know, the idea that they're playing the identity politics, so that way they have people fix the ills of, let's say, those who are discriminated because of their whiteness, which again, you should be going after people who discriminate, period. And going back to the whole identity politics thing, I think you should be if you discriminate on things you cannot change, such as, you know, your skin tone, yeah, you should be fucking gone after. You should be going after. But, you know, no one knows about this guy being gay. No one knows the Karen's SJW, what she's thinking. You know, no one knows about this unless you tell them. So this is one of the reasons why, again, I'm against identity politics, including the political identity politics. Keep going.
All right.
And that's what she was really trying to mold me into, but you got the wrong person for that, honey. And anyone who actually knows me could have told you that. So it just shows she never paid attention to who I am, even. So anyway, then the huge red flag happened. This, quite frankly, is when I should have severed ties with her. So I didn't know this yet at the time, but anyone watching this knows what I'm talking about, that Karlyn likes to pick big public feuds with people. And what she does is she will pick a target and devote an entire hate campaign against them for a week. She will fixate on this person hating them, and it'll be hate tweets, hate videos, hate posts. So she decided that she was going to pick a big feud with Tim Pool. So by now we've been traveling for a long time. This is like October 2020. So this is maybe like 2 weeks before the election or 3 weeks before the election. So Karlyn decided that she wanted to pick a big public feud with Tim Pool. What happened was he was having a guest on his show, and this had absolutely nothing to do with her. She's not involved. She doesn't know these people, but she decided that she wanted this guest canceled from his show, deplatformed, blacklisted, whatever you want to call it. We had that guy Vosh on as a guest.
Which let me just say this about Vosh. To quote Razorfist again, and even V. Monroe, we should start fucking, canceling some of these people. Because it's getting to the point where these people have an agenda, and now we have to fight over administrative privileges. That means we need to become the administrator of our culture, and we need to be the constant hair stroking. Exactly. And let me just say this: when guys, I think it's when girls flirt with you, right? They fuck with their hair. Like that's supposedly like one of the telltale signs of these people when they're flirting with you. I think in a lot of this way, this is sort of predatory flirt. So because of that, that's why I think he's stroking his hair constantly, is because he's anxious. The body gestures he's doing shows he's anxious about this, but he goes back and forth between passive aggressive, and that's what makes me think he's sort of just out there. I don't keep going.
But I thought we were supposed to be the people who were against censorship and deplatforming. For me, I actually meant those things when I talk about them. So she just fixated on this for weeks and weeks and weeks. Going after him and demanding that he cancel this guest and then bitching about it.
I absolutely will not go on that show. First of all, because he hates me. Because he was lied to by Carrie fucking Smith.
I should say also, it had been going on for a little while.
Yeah, she has that mother hen. She does have that mother hen thing. You're right. You're right. That's exactly what that is. And to be honest with you, yeah, Tim Pool should not have certain people on. He really shouldn't. Because the problem with Tim Pool is he wanted to be Sargon of Akkad. He wanted to be Jay Leno. He doesn't want to be, going on the ground and, reporting people. I've never once saw anything to Tim Pool. I've never once seen Tim Pool out and about anymore. He said, because I'll get attacked. I'm like, who gives a fuck? Get a gun. Get a gun, get a fucking helmet, have a little beanie over your helmet, and, you know, have a Kevlar vest, and go out into the field. Do it. Hire security. You could just hire fucking security. That's all you gotta do. Hire security and say, because these people have targeted me. And you could show them the information. You could have that conversation. He doesn't do that. He doesn't even hire people to actually go into these places and do that. We never see him on the ground. I've never seen him do any reporting like he used to. So that's one of the reasons I don't like Tim Pool. Then combine that with the fact he wants to basically just be fucking, you know, Jay Leno or Jimmy Fallon or wherever it might be, because that's what he is. He's basically, you know, the late night show with Tim Pool. That's what he's become. He used to be Geraldo Rivera. Now he's basically, he's basically freaking Jay Leno, or he's late night. That's what he is. He's late night with Tim Pool. That's what it is. It's what it's become. He went from Geraldo Rivera to late night with Tim Pool. And I'll be frank with you, we don't need that in a culture war. We don't. And now keep going.
Instill this hatred for Tim Pool in me, which is very strange. I mean, we don't know each other, Tim Pool and I. We met twice. And I'd probably told her at some point that, so the first time I met him, I was just at an event he was at, and I'd said I thought he was kind of cold and kind of aloof. But that's just a snap judgment. Like, you know, he'd just gone through this whole event. That was just a snap judgment. And sometimes snap judgments are either right or they're wrong, because the second time that I met him, he was lovely. But she was always sort of bringing up my immediate snap judgment of Tim Pool I made and trying to get me to hate him. And I've learned since then, though, that that's something manipulators do a lot. They want to find a common enemy with you. They want to pit you and them against someone else. So Tim would not capitulate to her. And the thing is, in this feud on Twitter, she threatened him with revealing an alleged private thing that she had been told about him. This is something she does very often, that she'll find out, like, personal information about people and then threaten them with it on Twitter. What had happened, I'm going to try to be vague with this because I don't want to anything. But what had happened is that someone had told us something that allegedly happened to something personal. It's not anything that's don't worry about it. And this person had, like, begged us, don't repeat this. So not only was she now, you know, that's somebody who's supposed to be her friend, and she just totally broke their trust for what? And I have to say, she also, at, like, walkaway events at bars everywhere, would tell everyone this. So that's a friend. So then she brought my name into it. She must have tweeted him 30 or 40 times. You better have Mike Harlow on. When are you going to have Mike Harlow on? You're censoring Mikey Harlow. You're deplatforming Mikey Harlow. You better have Mikey Harlow on. Why won't you have Mikey Harlow on? First of all, I'm not delusional. Like, I'm not super well known or anything. Like, so the idea of me thinking that I'm entitled to getting invited on Tim Pool's show.
Okay, dude.
Bothers me. Also,
what are you talking? Okay, what the fuck? This is projection. That's projection, right there. Oh, we're not entitled. So why can't you ask then? No one has stated here. Like how? What? Like, this is the reason I don't like it. What does entitlement mean, Luke? When you hear entitled, what first comes to your mind?
Selfish.
Selfish? What? So I'm selfish for wanting to be on Tim Pool. How does that make any sense? How are they using this? Oh, you're not entitled. Why? Because I have desires? Why? Because I have hopes and ambitions? That makes me entitled? Having ambition makes you, like, no, legitimately, because that's sort of what I'm getting off of when people say entitled. They've mistaken entitled for ambitious. And so it's really scary, especially since you realize that a lot of the people who are at the top are the ones who will accuse you of being entitled. They're the ones who you know, like, I'm on top. Don't try to dethrone me. Don't dethrone me. Oh, you feel entitled. They play the fucking mind games. No one here has said anything about entitlement. In fact, the first person who talks about entitlement dies. That's how this game works.
Is that the Mike Godwin rule of political discourse?
Yeah, if you start crying about entitlement, you lose. You lose because no one here has talked about entitlement, unless we're talking about, you know, we're doing a budget cut and we're trying to cut certain entitlements. The only person, the first person who talks about entitlements loses. That's how this works.
In the spirit of Mike Godwin, we'll call dashing rogue rule. Dashing rogue's law.
Rogue's law. Anyone who bitches about entitlement first loses.
I couldn't even speak for myself. And then she was tweeting things, also revealing things that I had said to her in private conversations. Like, I had said to her that I think you can tell a lot about YouTubers based on their audience. And I was telling her about a show that I went on, and the audience was kind of nasty. So she, like, tweets Tim Pool, Mikey Harlow, again, always my full name, Mikey Harlow just was telling me that you can tell everything about a person by their audience. So it was very strange to me. It gave me the worst possible feeling you can have about somebody. It just gave me, like, a hit in my stomach. She was trying to portray me as this person that I'm not. Oh, it bothered me so much that I was seeing the responses and people saying stuff like, well, he's never going to have him on now.
Did you ever tell her about this?
I don't know if he did or not. I never told. Again, I'm not in contact with Borysenko. At the same time, I'm not really. Again, I've watched her here and there, and mostly because she brings up some of the most interesting things, like again, the whole I got hexed because of a libertarian or something like that, or she's correct about certain things. Every so often, she's correct. She has that. I guess it's the feminine intuition, if you will. That part of her is on. That's tuned on. And half the time she's correct, and half the time she ain't correct. But oftentimes there's something to be said there. It's one as my follower. But again, we'll move on from here because at this point, again, you want to watch it, you can watch the rest of it. What's up?
Yeah, I'm hoping he eventually says that he confronted her about this, but I don't know.
Let's continue then.
Well, let's
She
skip
told
that.
me in this, she will not stop. You better have Mikey Harlow on. You better have Mikey Harlow on. And it was so mortifying. I mean, like I said, I wasn't even on Twitter at the time, but I could see the comments to it, and people were saying things like, wow, I didn't think Mike was like that. I'm surprised at him. She was making it sound like I was sitting there with her, egging this on and saying, ooh, tell him about me, say my name, why won't he have me on? And the idea of that was just, it's so gross to me. But I also felt like, I had to sacrifice a lot to walk away from the left. I kind of had to leave the entire life that I had before, every friend, a lot of opportunities. At this point, I'm banned from Twitter. I'm banned from so many different things. So it felt like I have so few bridges left. Why are you burning bridges for me if you're my friend? And for nothing, for no reason. This had nothing to do with her. It's certainly.
You know what I think this is?
But
I think it could very well be that these are the type of people who said the whole there was a whole talk about whether or not the hashtag walk away campaign was a Russian psyop or let's say a leftist psyop. I think it might be a leftist psyop.
You think so?
Yeah, think about it. They basically walked away from the Democratic Party, and where did they walk to? You have a choice of walking away from the Democratic Party and into the arms of the Socialist Party of America, or the Democratic Socialist Party of America, for that matter, or Green Party, or Libertarian Party. All it is really just anti-democratic propaganda, or I guess stories, if you will. I mean, anti-democrat propaganda. That's what you could call it. But at the end of the day, it really is, we don't like the Democrats. You don't have to be a Democrat. Here's why I'm not a Democrat. That's what it is. So there could have been a lot of money to be gained because, let's be frank, the dumb Republicans would have thrown money at it because they would have less of their party, more for our party. This is where I guess I really don't like the whole culture war profiteering angle behind this. And to be honest with you, again, why would he advocate for this? Why would she? Okay, let's see. What's this about? Let's go.
Plotting against them. Red flag. So she just went off for weeks and weeks and weeks against Carrie. I should say, this was October-ish 2020. It's now December 2021. She is still bashing Carrie. She is still obsessed with Carrie.
Carrie's obsessed with me! Want to look at Carrie Smith's Twitter in real time?
She literally 10 minutes before I started filming this video.
Carrie who, though?
That's Tarantinoing this shit.
From and be a better friend in the future, because you really deserved a much better friend than me at the time. It was just a really awkward situation, and I kind of felt like my hands were tied because, again, the election was coming up, and we're still traveling together, and her and I are still friends, I guess. Even though Carrie is my ride or die, it was just a bunny boiler. They don't let you walk away. So Karlyn just started the entire hate campaign against her. Hate videos, hate tweets, hate posts. That's what she does. She has made probably dozens of videos bashing Carrie, and she put them behind a paywall too. So she was like, subscribe to my locals, pay money. One single person who has one bad word to say about Carrie. I mean, how anyone could not love Carrie,
Who's Carrie?
The most giving, the most generous, pretty much a conversation. After that, I never trusted her. Ultimately, I just took the hit. It was right before the election. I didn't want her to walk away. I couldn't come out against her, contradict her, I guess I felt. I just took the hit. I didn't say anything. I never trusted her after that. And I remember talking to my friend that night after I left her room. And I said at the time, I was like, I don't know when, but one of these days, the target of her next feud is going to be me. And I was right. After that, we were still traveling for another, 2-3 months. And after a bit, we sort of fell back into being friends. And there were times where I felt like we really were friends, but there were also times that I had these really negative vibes about her. So for me, it was sort of a situation of forgive but don't forget. So then, a few days after this, she picked as the target of her next feud one of my best friends in the world, Carrie Smith.
It's just a friend of hers.
Right. Which, again, the libertarians, she's a witch. Which, again, I think she's a witch. I don't know. I'm not gonna. She's a New Ager. Let's say New Ager for the sake of argument. So here we go. What do we got? Well, apparently, yeah. When you use assault as a punchline, yes. Okay. Let's keep going.
And she was like, yes, you are. And it's funny too, by the way, because if you go back to my original walkaway video and my walkaway story, part of that was that I was in the immediate time after I was raped, I was told that I'm not allowed to find rape jokes funny. I'm not allowed to try to find any humor in it. And now that's exactly what this social justice warrior was telling me. So it's kind of ironic that now she's like, rape is never funny, rape is never funny. You know, she's a social justice warrior through and through and through. She just kept going and going and going. 10, 12, 15 hours later, 20 hours later. So finally I responded to one and I was just like, Karlyn, get off it. And she was like, okay. And with that, she unfriended me on everything, blocked me on Facebook. Yeah, by the way, never said a word to me personally or privately, never said a word. I think maybe 2 or 3 days later, she sent me a text and I just saw the first sentence or something was like,
oh, so he can't really have a confrontation with her because she acts like this.
Yeah, something along those lines. I don't know. Honestly, it's kind of it's something. It definitely is something. I mean, honestly, this is the type of political bantering. This is why we can't have nice things. This is like you gotta keep away from this type of stuff and just do your own thing. So, like one of the things, you know, let's see, how long have we been going? How long do you have, Luke? We've been going for about, I'd say,
maybe an hour and 45 minutes.
An hour and 45 minutes? Jeez. It's been a while. You know what? I got a couple more things we could talk about before I continue. Before I call it a night, because I'm going to call it a night soon. But I did find, let's see. Let's see if I can find it here. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So this is from our good friends at the Black Rifle Coffee Company. Apparently, Black Rifle Coffee has its own YouTube channel. So here you go, Luke. This is something I wanted to show. Because apparently...
what is this?
For those of you who survived long enough, survived the onslaught of my ramblings, congratulations, here's your reward. This is what's happening in the Ukraine.
Ah, yes.
This is from Black Rifle Coffee Company, the same people who had that Mara chick from Call of Duty, who are sponsoring her, the same people who went after Kyle Rittenhouse. These are the people who are, I guess, pro-war in the Ukraine, which kind of sucks in a lot of ways. That the only people who actually want to go fight the do-goodness are the fucking corporatists. Kind of pisses me off in a lot of ways. I don't know.
Some people are really, really afraid of unknown. But for us, for people who do this job, it's not something new. It's not something that the unknown.
You fixed his lisp.
It's always scary when you don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. Here, everybody knows what to do. You may like our country. You may not like. You may talk whatever the hell you want. But if you take weapon to your hands, you're the target. That's all.
So is this like a documentary series?
This is like a documentary. I'm surprised that Black Rifle Coffee even had a YouTube presence, but now I'm starting to think to myself that these guys are fucking feds. Like, between the whole Rittenhouse, disowning of Rittenhouse, and all the other shit that's gone on with them, and all the drama, I wouldn't be surprised if these guys are establishment. Because, I mean, let's be frank, there is a legit reason to want to go to war with Ukraine. Or not with Ukraine, but against Russia, to stand up against them. I've talked about it. But at the same time, I'm surprised that it's the same people. So it kind of gives me an idea of the lay of the land of who's saying what and why, you know?
Let's see.
How far away are we from the enemy positions?
Well, maybe 200 meters.
200 meters,
We will
okay.
reach the river now, and then we will cross the river, and this will be our last post.
So you could be close enough to actually yell and have them hear you at that
Yes,
point.
yes.
After more than 7 years, the war in Ukraine's eastern Donbass region is far from over. Here, along an entrenched front line, Ukraine's military continues to fight against a combined force of Russian regulars, pro-Russian separatists, and foreign mercenaries. February 2000.
What was that you said about the Dynasty people like Ben Shapiro? Doesn't this thing have that kind of vibe to it?
It does. That's my whole point, because this is made by Black Rifle Coffee. You know that, right?
Yeah.
And you know what Black Rifle Coffee was involved in, right? The whole they defunded Rittenhouse. They basically were doing a lot of anti-Second Amendment activities. This has the same, yeah, and it's sad is that they're the only ones who are telling the fucking truth. What's going on?
That's disappointing.
It is. It fucking is. And you know, there is a legit reason to go there. Now, I have heard, and this is something that I'm going to go ask the Army recruit guy later on in the week, that there are people within the United States who, in California, who are part of the National Guard, who are being moved over to Ukraine. If that's the case, I might very well go down there. It'll be interesting, because let's be frank, I don't like the Duke, and this is my chance. If that is the case, I would love to go after the Ruskies, play Call of Duty IRL, and fucking kick them out of Verdansk. Fucking awesome. No, seriously, it'll be funny. Let's go.
15 ceasefire froze the conflict along its current boundaries, but daily shelling and sniper fire continue to take lives, and so do small, weaponized Russian drones, which patrol high overhead and sometimes drop lethal munitions with little or no warning. Altogether, it's a bizarre conflict, combining modern technology with battlefield conditions similar to those of the World War I trenches. В данный момент продовжуються провокації, які діють в указів.
That's a little horrifying.
Yeah, I mean, and someone like me would love to go out there and volunteer.
And of course, in World War I, you going over the trench was basically a death sentence.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's why you go over the top, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Російських операторів ведучих максимально нанести враження особового складу нашим ведучих підірвати моральний дух.
You mentioned how it's always how these are like establishment people. Like there's always like these. I forget what the video game was, but basically the idea is the corporation that controls everything. So what if in the future we're all just different corporations just vying for power? We're all acknowledge the fact that we're all owned by a corporation, or it just depends which one you have loyalty to.
Yeah, that's why I think with a lot of welcome to cyberpunk, right? That's sort of what this is. The difference here is that the politics have become corporations as well. You have the one of the things I like to bash the Satanists whenever I talk about the white nationalist Satanists is that they never really dressed. Not just, it wasn't that they were ever dressing in Hugo Boss or Nazi shit or paraphernalia and crap like that. It was always that they were so into it. They were so into it. They were talking about trying to make it so that they had their own think tanks and shit like that. They were saying we were building our society like the Iran Corporation and shit like that. And because it was so like clearly not just the parody, that sounded like it was actual legitimate the effort to actually get into politics, it kind of made me worried. And in this case, this is so legitimately, obviously, propaganda. It is. It really is. Now, granted, that doesn't mean that the cause isn't a good cause. It just means that the wrong people are backing it. And maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm always reminded of that phrase from back in the day when Jack Hunter, he said that MSNBC is the Democrat channel and Fox News is the Republican channel, but please notice that I did not say liberal or conservative.
Yep. And I think a lot of this is neocon crap right here. I think that this is neocon.
Yeah, it does feel like it. Like, when you put it that way, it was like, man, this is the kind of thing that neocon would push for.
Yeah, now I'll tell you this, though. I'm not saying that, again, in this particular case, the neocon is correct. The Russians are our fucking enemy. They have been since 1997. And, again, you have to understand, you're fighting the Soviet boomer. You're not fighting Russians. You're fighting the Soviet boomer. The Russians are the fucking guys who are on the foot soldiers of the Soviet boomer, and we can have a chance to stop them now before they get too big, and then we have to take on Soviet Union 2.0. aka Eurasian Economic Union. Let's keep going, Luke.
Дух суспільства. Це все. Одна ціль максимально знизити потенціал України, заставити Україну сісти до стіл переговорів на умовах Росії. We're crossing the Seversky Donetsk River from Ukrainian territory up to the front lines. At the front lines is a minefield of a few hundred meters which separates the Ukrainian positions from their enemies. Apparently, they're close enough that they can actually trade verbal insults to one another across no man's land. Could you describe sort of an ordinary day in the front line? What is that like? What sort of...
Oh, Dash, I have to check something. I'll be right back.
All right, be right back, man. Take your time. Yeah. Let's read some of the chats if you all are here still.
Oh. Should I keep the video playing?
Yeah, keep playing if you want.
Threats do you face from the Russian side?
Now, at this moment, the main threat is sniper fire and threats from the area, drones and this kind of stuff.
If you all are staying in one position for so long and not able to move, does it become psychologically difficult for your morale to not be able to be on the offensive? Is it hard to just sit here and sort of endure the daily attacks?
Of course it is, because it is hard to stay here. We know why we are here. We know what are we doing here. We are military people. We do what we gotta do.
Can't they like get some like solar panels or something in that area? Or some checkers?
It might be 6 or 8 months.
It's been 6 or 8 months in this position? Yes. That's a long time. Почему вы решили стать солдатом?
Надо было.
Стать и защищать. Ну, как бы это ни звучало, да, но...
I had to defend my country. By the way, look at all their gear. Look at their gear and ask yourself, if these guys are glowies, like, why would they be having this type of gear?
Your operations or the way you conceal your positions?
We must get much.
What'd I miss?
Not much. We're basically, I said I was look at their gear. Look at their gear and ask yourself, is this like legitimate, real world operator gear, or is this like eBay stuff? That's the first thing if you want to know if they're glowies or not. If they're using like legit gear, which by the way, I do believe that these guys, if you see any of them, in fact, I have another one of very similar. We're going to look at that in a second. 1 second. Here we go. This is a more updated version of this same video. So they've been talking about this shit for the longest time. All right. This was taken in November 17th. This is taken in December 7th. Now I want to talk about this because this is some very interesting shit. All right, here we go.
All right.
I was basically wondering why didn't they have, let's say, solar panels in the Ukraine at that time? Like, why can't they have solar panels and have like an iPod or something? Like, you don't have to have an iPhone, have an iPod, Just you be able to play your music and be able to do what you need to do. And listen to it that way. Don't play it on fucking Bluetooth. Or not on fucking speaker. So here we go, play it.
You just take your own personal
Yeah,
weapons.
absolutely. I think
Oh, wait.
These are the people who are volunteering to go fight. These are
not the
Ukrainian-
obligation,
Here we go, keep playing.
but it's the duty of each man who can carry a rifle to stand up and actually be ready.
Слава Україні! Доброго дня.
Look at all their gear. I like it.
With Russian forces massing on the borders, Ukraine's military is preparing to defend against a major offensive in the coming weeks or months. And part of that plan are the Territorial Defense Forces, which include civilian volunteer soldiers who will maintain law and order or perhaps
Freaking grand thumb.
warfare operations should Russia invade.
My main job, I'm...
Oh, come on. He's not from...
Must.
Go back. What the fuck is that?
Who, this guy?
Ramirez! Ramirez, pick up that Ramirez, pick up that gun. Ramirez, defend that, take down that high D. Legitimately, you can't make this up. Why is he here? Why is there like don't get me wrong, I remember there was actual I think it was Coach Red Pill. He's like a Latin American gentleman. He's in Ukraine. So for all I know, this is propaganda. Like, I just have a fucking feeling about this shit. But one of the things I want people to point out and look at is look at all their gear. Like, if any of you can ID their gear, that would be actually, leave a comment below. I'll actually want to know what type of gear they're using. I want to be able to look at that because I want to know who's supplying them. Because I have a theory, and this is a theory that I have, that the reason we pulled out of Afghanistan so quick prematurely was so that we could shoot our load of weapons all over Europe and all over the world. And that way, people can justify carrying nods in, let's say, Syria or someplace like that, or nods in like China, that because they're on the black market. So you could justify having the latest, greatest gear out on the black market for more covert, plausible deniability, if that makes any sense. That's one of the theories I have. So, if these guys run around with nods, next month, congratulations, you basically successfully smuggled arms. And let's be frank ourselves, all those Muslims and ISIS and all the places in Afghanistan, they're going to put some of that shit on the black market. You damn well know they will. So keep an eye on the freaking gear. Let's get going.
All right.
I am a lawyer. We must be prepared to defend. If we fail our independence, we will disappear.
What we are doing, we are currently training to support or to counter ambush of the probability of some insurgents that may infiltrate to Ukraine.
So I'm a normal woman, who have full-time job. I have a garden, I have a house, I have 3 kids, I have 10 cats, some 2 dogs, and my son is now here in territory.
Where are they getting the 5.56 ammo?
It's a family event.
Yeah.
I mean, if this is what's waiting for Russia, do you think they can stand a chance?
I think they can stand a chance. I think they can almost certainly stand a chance. Because here's the thing: Russia, like I do believe that Russia is not going to move in with their military. They will not do that. I believe this will be a war fought by proxies, a proxy war fought by mercenaries and PMCs. I think that what you should be scared of is the professional PMC. That's what you should be frightened of. These guys are, let me just say this: if they work together and they have the gear. All they need to do is have the training, and that's really what's going to separate the boys from the men is the training and their synergy, the synergization of their squad tactics. Okay, so like you could have nods and all the the PEC 10s and all the other crap, but if you don't have the training, if you don't have the ability to communicate or have the ability to talk back and forth and actually effectively operate as a squad, you're basically done. I think a lot of these people will. If they have enough of them, they're not going to be able to send in like special forces ain't going to be able to do anything like Spetsnaz or PMC, like professional militaries. They're not going to be able to take these people. It's because they're too many in number, and it would be too big of a fucking fight. You'll hear about Little Green Men and Blackwater and the Wagner group. You'll hear about them, but you won't hear about Russia. You won't hear about the United States. That's what I think is going to happen. You're going to have PMCs. Now keep going.
I came here to have skills to use a gun and
Romania.
to defend, let's say,
Romania,
himself.
Poland. Parker wants to know if Ukraine falls. Any idea who's next? Romania and Poland. And I honestly, dude, if it gets to that point, I'm gonna sign up. I have to go save. I gotta go fight these people because I know that these fuckers are evil. I know that the fucking Ruskies do want to fucking stay. They fucking wrote a whole book about subversion. I've talked about it before. They're trying to fucking subvert our country, so this is our one shot to basically be the gamer, to be the guy and go in there and fly into Verdansk and kick fucking Rusky out of Ukraine, out of the borderlands, which apparently Ukraine does mean the borderlands. I'll keep going.
Your children.
Now we are training to forest fight, and we will use these skills. For example, if we have some sabotage groups here, they infiltrate inside our territory, we will surround them, capture them, and destroy them.
Why capture them? Why don't you why just destroy
What
them on the
made
spot?
you decide to join the Territorial Defense Force?
The main reason because I love my country.
Because they're more humane than the Russians, I guess?
Because the Russians are expansionist power. They are imperialistic. Everything they say about us is true if you apply it to them. Keep that in mind. They want to say we're a bunch of degenerates. They're the ones who have an AIDS epidemic in their country. They want to call us. They want to say that they're holy and Christian. Putin said that Islam has more ties to Orthodox Christianity than Catholicism. Okay, like legitimately, like their patriarch fucking photoshopped out his fucking $100,000 watch. They're not. Everything that they say about us is bullshit and a meme. It's propaganda. Now, you factor all that in, and you factor in the fact that you have an aging population, a degenerate boomer fucking oligarch class who are also Soviet boomers, so they automatically don't give a fuck about human life. They're the ones who will sacrifice little Ivan to go die in the trenches because of some boomer's dream of Soviet Russia. Seriously. Like, those people are the ones you have to watch out for, okay? Let's just hope Biden actually is being controlled by somebody else, because at this point, I don't think Mr. Poopy Butthole can fucking actually hold his own against Putin. But we already know he was controlled from the beginning. Keep going.
Yes, we will be the Operation Reserve. So we will be the first of non-military people who will take weapon, take rifles, and we will help army in all over the places that we can, in logistics, in supply.
What is Ukraine fighting for right now? Are you fighting?
Freedom. The first thing is freedom.
Should just say sovereignty.
And what made you decide to join the Territorial Defense Forces?
My will to defend my country against oppression, Russian oppression.
Again, the way they use the terms, look at how what they say: freedom, oppression. And it's the fucking Spanish guy saying oppression. Who do you think this is targeted towards, ladies and gentlemen? It's targeted towards the basic bitch neocon conservative, the people who listen to Ben Shapiro and shit like that. That's who it's targeted towards. It's not to say that it's not a good cause. It's just that listen who they're targeting. They're not targeting the alt-right. They're targeting people like that, like I said, Ben Shapiro and fucking Charlie Kirk's audience. Keep going.
These skills I won't use, but I want to be sure that I can.
I don't want my kids to be, to still continue to fight. And I'm afraid they will have to. But anyway, at least I will do everything that's possible.
I don't want that my children will have the similar experience. Enough. That's enough for Ukrainians.
I hate to say it, but I don't think you're Ukrainian, buddy. I think you're more of I think you are an immigrant, and you may have national status, but I don't necessarily think that he is a native Ukrainian. However, that being said, when you're facing, the loss of your sovereignty in your country, you don't give a fuck if you're from the French Foreign Legion. Welcome aboard. That's how I would see it. I just find it very, again, I gotta play a little bit of devil's advocate, gotta play a little bit of, pushing back and forth against this stuff, Keep going.
Russian buildup on the border. Are you personally concerned that there might be a full-scale invasion of Ukraine?
That's a difficult question. Yes, I feel concerned. That's why I'm here. That's why I keep my magazines loaded and my rifle ready and clean. But I hope that will not happen, actually, because that will be a catastrophe for both countries.
Coffee or Die magazine. Yeah, it's BoomerCon propaganda. Now, Idris Eldred says, Dashing, you seem little obsessed with the Russians. The bigger threat by far is the government run out of Israel, and the America is controlled, and the America is controlled by by Israel, and America is controlled by Israel. No, it's not. It's controlled. Well, let me elaborate on that. Yes, I am obsessed about the Russians. There's a book called The Foundational Geopolitics. Look it up. It was written in 1997, and it's used by the Russian military for leaders who are above the rank of colonel. They have to. It's mandatory reading, and is part of the Russian geopolitical strategy. In it, it talks about weaponizing racist and separatist groups within the United States to try to destabilize it. I'd highly recommend you look into it before you start running your mouth about why I'm obsessed with the Russians. I'm obsessed with the Soviet boomer. That's the main thing. And maybe to a certain degree, cute Russian girls on Instagram, right? But if you're going to talk about Israel, there is an argument for it. Big Eva is a problem. Big Eva, especially, Zionist Eva, I should say, or big Eva. Big Eva is the problem. And a lot of it boils down to a mistranslation between state and nation. The old terminology was the nation is the people, like the Cheyenne Nation, the Cherokee Nation. It was a group of tribes, had to do with blood. It did not have to do with sovereignty of, let's say, the state. So, like, you could have French people, you could have French houses in France, but they're not necessarily a part of the French state. If that makes any sense. So that's my notion behind it. And yeah, Big Eva is a problem. So I'll agree with you to a certain degree, but not. You're making too big a broad stroke. And Burger King nationalism gives me the winky face or the pointing up, which I guess
agreement with the previous comment, I think.
Which again, you have to. No, it simply isn't. I don't believe Israel is controlling the United States any more than the Republicans are controlling their donors. So that being said, Luke, any final thoughts?
Let's see if this plays. I guess. Oh, if I could just find that one clip here.
And stop. Your heart was in the right place. And that's what Christmas is all about. Is it?
It is. Well, no, it's not. It's about Jesus, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ being born. That's what it's about. But anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, be good to one another, take care of one another, and remember, saving the West is a side quest. This is the Renegade Podcast.